Hello. Um, First, I'd like to apologize that the lighting is truly awful right now. My overhead light doesn't work at all, and I had to get this little lamp from the living room, and it looks like it's a lot brighter in here than it actually is. It's actually very, very dim, and so I'm kind of surprised that it's so bright, but it is. And anyway, what I thought would be a good thing for me to talk about was well, someone recently asked me, um, I guess, how I decided to start doing this whole meditation journey, and I thought that was an excellent question. So I thought that would be a good thing to answer right now as a start for my meditation journey. And yeah, here I go. So what happened was that like a week and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer, I was home alone and I hadn't really meditated in a while, and by a while I mean like for a fair amount of months. And the reason for that, like there are a couple of reasons for that actually. The main one probably that I was like kind of depressed for a lot of that, and I mean I was getting discouraged about my meditation because my regular practices weren't really helping me, and I think that I thought they were going to have a certain effect on me, and when that didn't happen, I just kept getting more and more discouraged about it, and that made me not really want to meditate at all. And so then the one day that I was home alone, I was thinking, I'm gonna meditate in a really bright room this time, a room that feels really happy just when I walk into it, and it'll be comfy, and I'll just meditate and I'll try something different. And so I did try something different. I did a meditation surrounded around loving kindness, and I got it. I have a few different books on Buddhism and meditation, and I used one of those to find a meditation that I wanted to try around loving kindness. And basically, what it was that I don't really remember it, but basically, what it was that you think of something that you've done that you think is good about yourself, or that makes you feel good, that you think was good, or that something good that you did for somebody else, just anything. And oh my gosh, now I remember what it was. And it said if you can't think of anything, then try to just think of something that made you feel good. And I know that there are good things that I've done for other people, but I just couldn't really focus on any one thing. And then the thought that I decided to think about was every time that I see a dog tied outside of a store or something, I always sit with it and I pet it, and I like talk to it. And I don't know, they make me really happy, and but I do it just because I feel bad for animals that get tied up outside, especially when it's cold, and they just want company. And even if their owner is only inside for 5 minutes, I just figure it's nice, it boosts my energy, and I figure that the animal likes getting attention too. So, and there was this one specific dog that I remembered it was cold, and I said like, "Oh, are you cold out here, little guy?" And then I pet him, and I don't know why I remember that one, but that was what I decided to focus on. And then there was this thought that ended up coming to my head during that meditation, and it sounds so simple now that I say it out loud, but I'll explain why it was so moving for me. And that thought was that I deserve love, and that I deserve the love that I wanted from other people. And from that thought, that realization, I started to bawl my eyes out because I realized that I hadn't been giving myself the love that I wanted from other people. I mean, I'd been craving, I guess, this love from others that I just wasn't getting. And then in turn, I also wasn't getting it from myself. And so then I just kind of was feeling worse and worse about how not that I felt like I wasn't loved at all, but like when you're in that sad place, you know that people love you, but you don't really feel it. And so I just it was a really profound crying. Like it was an ugly cry. But it was a good one because as I was it was like a really really deep loud one too. And so I was laughing between sobs, and I just couldn't stop. It was kind of crazy. And I remember just thinking like, oh, I'm so glad that nobody's home right now because I would just be so embarrassed to have someone hear me do that. And so, yeah, it was after that that I realized that, all the love that I wanted from somebody else, I could get from myself. And that by denying this love to myself, I was just kind of making it worse for me. And like, and this is gonna sound not like I want it to sound, but I'll try and explain myself. And that, like, how can you, okay, actually, maybe this won't, but, sound bad. But, like, how can you expect love from others when you can't even love yourself? Like, if you can't love yourself, then you can't really expect it from somebody else because that's almost like putting an expectation on it's like putting an expectation that you can't even meet. And so, I mean, it's just in that realization, it was a really good feeling. And so it was after that that I decided to practice self-acceptance. And so I have a book actually surrounded solely on self-acceptance, and it's called Self-Acceptance. I'm saying that a lot. Embracing Your Life with the Heart of a Buddha by Tara something or other. And funny enough, I actually haven't completed like any of my Buddhism books yet. And even though I started like practicing, well, not practicing, but being interested in like meditation and Buddhism like at least like 5 years ago. But I've never really done anything serious about it until now. And funny enough is that I bought the last book that I've bought about surrounding around Buddhism and meditation was this self-acceptance one, but I think it's the first one that I need to read before I can move on. And so it's a really good book actually. So there's this one bookstore in Guelph, and what's it called? The Bookshelf. It's called the Bookshelf, and there's this one guy who works there, Ken. And the first time I went in there to buy a book, I knew I wanted to buy one about Buddhism, but I didn't know like what I was really looking for. So I picked up one, and I forget what it was called, but it basically talked about like it described Buddhism, and so it was really good if you want to like learn about the practices and if you want to learn like basically what it's about, but it wasn't really good if you wanted to like start practicing it. So Ken, who worked there, is also a Buddhist, and he suggested this one book to me by Jack Kornfield. It's like The Path to Loving Kindness or something, or something like that. A Path with Heart. That's what it is. A Path with Heart by Jack Kornfield. And so I bought that one first. And there's a funny thing. I was walking through the aisles, and there was a Buddhist monk, in his robes and everything, looking at some of the books that one time that I bought that book. And ever since then, and they always, in that one bookshop, they have like these little slips that say like, oh, this book is good because of this, and then whoever said that like puts their name down, whoever works there. So any book that Ken recommends, I have bought. And they're all great, but I haven't finished any of them. But this self-acceptance one is fantastic, and I think it's a good place to start, just because it talks a lot about there are some there's some misunderstandings about self-acceptance, in that it's like you just blindly accept for who you are, so then therefore you don't have to change, or like, oh well, this is just who I am, so I accept that and I don't need to do anything about it. And that's not true. The way I always thought about it, and I didn't even realize that people thought about it like that until I read it in the book, because the way I always thought about it was that I accept myself for who I am, and in that acceptance I realize that I'm capable of change. And possibility of change and that kind of capability is part of accepting yourself as who you are, because everyone has that capability, and sometimes people are stuck in this mindset that they just, this is who I am, so I don't have to change. And like, if you notice that you're a certain way, that's like the first step to being able to change, right? If you notice that you're one way and you go, maybe that's like something that I don't really want to be, then that's where you go, okay, this is who I am right now, but in this state of realizing who I am, I can now understand my capacity for change. And then you start doing what you want to do to make yourself feel better about whatever it is that you want to change. And so there's a lot in there actually that I don't even really know how to describe, but it was really good. But anyways, so what I'm going to be doing on top of all this, like what I'm going to be doing it as well as during this meditation journey is I'm keeping a meditation journal. And so I'm just writing down how I feel during meditations after, fears that I have perhaps, or obstacles that I want to overcome, or issues in my life, or, just anything that I think is significant towards this whole journey, because I don't want to forget, well, not forget, but I want to realize my change and understand it. So I think it's good to write it down. And on top of that, I'm trying to meditate at least once a day, even if it's only for 5 minutes. I always try to do it for longer than 5 minutes just because I know I'm past the point where I can do it for more than 5 minutes. So I know I'm at the point where I can do it for more than 5 minutes, is what I meant to say. And so, and I also read online, so I don't know actually how true it is, because I know you can't believe everything that you say online, but I'm optimistic about it, is that it, according to research, it apparently only takes, on average, the average person about 66 days to develop a habit. And the article went on to talk about how to, how you can relate that to kicking habits like smoking or whatever, right? And so, but I liked the idea that it only takes about 66 days to start a habit. So I'm starting a habit of meditating every day, and that's going to be it. And I have a day planner, a little black day planner, where I'm going to write down, day 1, yes, I meditated. Day 2, yes, I meditated. And so I can keep track of whether or not I'm doing the stuff. But, yeah, that's all I really have to say for right now. I'm feeling a lot better about myself. If that's, I guess, something else I could talk about. I know that there are still going to be good days and bad days, and you never know when something's gonna hit you. Like, even just last night, there wasn't anything throughout the day that made me feel especially good or especially bad, but like around like 11:30ish, there was something that just hit me, and I just like felt like crap. And so I know that there are some things that you just can't change, and being sad is one of them, and you don't want to like never be sad. That's just not going to happen. You're going to be sad sometimes, and you just have to understand that that's a part of life, and you have to accept it. And so now when I'm sad, I don't like try to distract myself by just doing other things. If I'm sad and I want to cry, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to cry. I'm not going to indulge myself for too long and start getting depressed, but if I feel sad, then that's the time for me to cry. So I will do it. But yeah, so I'm feeling a lot better. Today was a good day. I did a bunch of stuff that I wanted to get done, and I haven't meditated yet, but lately I've been meditating a little bit later in the day anyways, so that's probably going to be what I do after this video. So, thank you everybody for the support that I've been getting thus far. It's made me feel awesome. Even on the bad days, I still felt pretty awesome. And, yes, thanks again. Much thanks and appreciation. And I will see you guys later, and have a good night.